So of late, we've started to see more phishing scams that's really occurring, not just within crypto, but within the whole technology space, and also outside of that. So one needs to be very careful. We need to be vigilant. So let me just give an example of what happened. This was yesterday. This was a message, a tweet from a one of the founders of a protocol called THORChain. He basically mentioned that he was targeted by a super sophisticated phishing scam. Fortunately, he detected it before it happened. And essentially, there was a Trojan that basically downloaded via Zoom and basically looking to sniff entire keychains, notes, documents. So ultimately, it was a Trojan that would enable, once downloaded, it could basically sniff and scan all of the documents, any confidential information that's on your desktop folders. And this could be extremely catastrophic, right? So if you have any saved private keys, seed phrases, confidential information, bank account details, any information that you feel is extremely sensitive that you save that one should never really save anyway on their desktop, these type of Trojans could really, cause a lot of mayhem and havoc. So he mentioned, just going into depth, he mentioned that one of his teams hired a PR firm to do basically some work. Then for interviews, he received a DM from Defiant News. So Defiant News seems to be 114,000 followers. They seem to provide unbiased, independent DeFi coverage. So we can take a look, find out more just in terms of what they do. So really focus on crypto, decentralized finance. And ultimately, they created a Calendly that was set up, booked it, then he received the link. Then basically, once he joined the Zoom, they asked him a few questions. Then they wanted a demo. He tried to do a screen share application. And then for some reason, he resorted to sharing the entire screen. And they kept asking him to go into systems preferences to enable access. So they wanted to enable access, which basically will then give access to them to give access to their screen, to his desktop. And when he actually did that, there was suddenly a window like the following that asked me for a root password. So there was a password that was requested. And then he got paranoid. Then he essentially, there's a red flag. He instantly hit the off button, so shut down the computer. Then he went through a process after restarting. He opened Zoom, uninstalled, started going through the various, he opened ChatGPT and hit LLM, and he found this security, details of a source, right? And then he spent the next few hours getting information regarding terminal commands and going through the process of, so this is a link that he provided. This was the launcher needs permission to enable background. So then he went through the process of trying to sanitize, trying to clean all of any potential Trojans within the command folders. And then he basically mentioned that he, after spending some time to clean the whole system, he said, these are a list of things that you need to be aware of. Do not use Zoom. So that's, yes, we understand do not use Zoom. Obviously, you can use Google Meets, but I think there's obviously ways that you can really counteract that. But yeah, process of elimination, you can totally eliminate that out of the equation. Obviously, you're not a fan of Zoom. You're not a stakeholder. If you are, then clearly that's a concern. But I think Zoom really need to look at this. Maybe putting some form of a filter system. Maybe just totally eradicating this option, right? Because these are, this is a backdoor, this is an opportunity for people to take advantage, scammers. Then he mentioned that he doesn't have, so on all of the keychains, documents and notes, to upload it, if the attacker has your keychain, they will essentially control. And for his project, his protocols, he splits the key into multiple device shares, and then he uses multiple user accounts, be 100% sanitized. So the moral of the story essentially is, even someone that's long in the tooth, quite an entrepreneur, seasoned entrepreneur. He fell victim, right? And it could have been catastrophic. So that gives you rise to be aware and make the right. So be vigilant when you get these messages of requesting certain links by email, social messaging accounts. You need to be also vigilant of when you click on any of these links for screen sharing to set up these conferences. You need to be extremely vigilant. So we pulled up how to prevent remote access scams. So do not give access to your computer. So in this regards, what you can essentially do is, clearly Zoom has this feature, this functionality. Maybe you totally eradicate that and just use Google Meets, use any other form. Probably Google Meets is up there. Be wary of unsolicited calls or messages. So if you do get a call, you do get a message, go through a due diligence, go through a process that you are going, or get one of your team members to, or send it off to your a cybersecurity company like us, for example, to go through and do due diligence on the company before you actually have the meeting, right? To make sure they're credible, to make sure that they're reputable. Never share confidential information. So this is in terms of people asking it for confidential information via email, or even when you're on a call or a conference, you need to be very careful. Verify the identity of the caller. So once you've scheduled a call, just ask who's going to be on the call. Can I have information of details of these individuals going to be on the call, right? So you can then, this provides more proof, more substance in terms of who you're actually talking to. Secure private keys against unauthorized access. You shouldn't have any private keys anyway on your desktop, on save files, anything on the computer. So this is let's say, the A to Z of what things you need to do to take steps to be aware of what's happening. If you like this type of information, please make sure you like, you subscribe, you follow. We'll be providing a lot of information. If you do have a project and you want to be audited, or you want to be able to ask questions regarding how to be able to protect yourself from a ransomware, Trojan, issues like that, or if you want if you have smart contracts you need audited, or if you have projects that have API connections, large language models connections that you're using, or using some form of apps and that you need to be aware, we can obviously help you with that in terms of some tools. And I'll be back with you another one. Bye bye.